What's up, guys? I'm Chris Trexmore,
I'm Dactyl.
and we are joined by a disembodied
Andrew
voice.
Allenson from Mac Studios.
Yes. All right. So we're obviously playing this game, Y2K.
Yeah.
I will be calling it YiiK the whole time with the developer, or
Sorry,
one
excuse
of.
me. Okay, so I kind of messed up without
Okay,
knowing.
so I would just start start a new game,
Okay,
and
so I can do that.
and I think you'll be fine.
Okay. All right. So we're just gonna do that
All right. So
because we want to present this thing the way it's supposed to be.
okay. So while we're loading up again, I see a question. Did you have any input into the voice actor choice? So I'm assuming he's asking, how much input did you have on the voice actors?
So we had a casting director, Brittany Lauda, who also directed the voice acting. So she's worked on a bunch of different animes, doing casting and directing. She mostly works with Funimation now, and we hired her to do it, and she basically showed us what she thought the best voices were after we had like 50 plus auditions for each character. She would pick like the top five, and then we would listen to them at the office, and then everyone would kind of say like, oh, I like this person. And then if what we said matched up with Brittany, then we would cast that person. If we had different opinions, we would ask those actors to do like a new read, and then go from there.
All right. Well, since you brought up Funimation and other voice actors, like who? This is more for me, not so much the chat, but who would have been like your dream voice actor to have in this game?
Oh, down.
Dream voice actor to have in the game. Actually, the actor who does Michael's voice, Clifford Chapin, was someone I was a fan of, and he's fucking awesome. He's Bakugo in My Hero Academia,
Oh, that.
and
Yeah.
he was someone whose voice I was hoping to get into the game. But as for someone who I haven't worked with, I mean, I would maybe the voice actor who played Alphonse Elric in the original Full Metal Alchemist would be fun to work with.
I still haven't actually played or watched Full Metal Alchemist all the way through. I was gonna do Brotherhood though.
Okay, both of them each have their merits. Brotherhood is, of course, closer to the author's vision of the thing, and then the first one, still a great anime. But I noticed you named your character Zelda. Is that the reference? I can't remember which Zelda it is, but there's a Zelda game where if you name your character Zelda, you get an extra heart.
I'm not sure what the reasoning exactly was, but I think it was something like Zelda's usually the person who gives you like the second quest. So. And that's like one of the few things people know
Oh,
as far as what we're doing here.
yeah.
So
Oh, our second playthrough. So you name the character Zelda.
Yeah.
Okay.
so I'm actually gonna
Yeah.
borrow you for a few of these names, Chris.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So. Okay. I'm assuming I have to read things. We're good.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. And Andrew, if you want to throw a name in there, feel free. Okay, what is the name of the coolest girl you know? Oh God,
Uh.
it's gonna be like one of two.
Do I have to do this one, or are you gonna do this one?
I'll do this one.
Okay.
It's fine.
Actually, no. Just stop there. That'll be fine. Then it can be for both of us.
I knew it.
Grandma Party asks if there is a specific reason the police only target Chandra and Claudio. Chandra and Claudio both have, I think, the highest speed and attack power, and the police NPCs were set up to attack the basically the characters with like the best HP and fastest strength. So it just ended up working out that it was the characters you just got on your party because of where they fell into the story.
The yin to your yang. Let's see. For me,
Who did you put? Did you?
it wasn't you.
Okay.
Actually, I think you were the smarter
Yeah.
or whatever.
I was Platt, but Platt's
Yeah.
me now.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we know a Chris who's smarter than you, so.
Yeah. All right. So the yin to my yang. You said it.
Brent.
Sure. he is opposite of me in very many ways.
So I'm probably still gonna make the favorite piece of technology a Dreamcast. So I need to get you making a
I
model for
think
that.
you're gonna want to call that a Game Boy.
A Game Boy?
I mean,
Nerdiest guy you know. Who the heck was it last time?
I don't know.
I think I put other James in there.
Other James? Because I was definitely thinking
Oh,
you.
okay. So this threw me off when I first played this game. All right, so we know another guy named James who goes by Panda because he's big and fluffy. And so I put in Panda as the nerdiest guy I know, and like one of the first characters you find is the panda bear. I didn't know anything about it. So I thought that was intentional somehow. I was like, what the hell? Face crippling student. Also Brent.
Name a friend who's always there. I was gonna say always Brent would be, or always Brent. Also Brent would be a good one. But from my perspective, I feel like you've been there for me for a long time.
Oh.
Yeah, we're doing the stream stuff together, and we're pushing each other into more and better projects. And
Yeah, I don't see Jacob anywhere. MC Monkey Dunks.
yeah, where's he?
Writing a D&D campaign, I'm sure.
Also, I love the chat. They said, think you're gonna want to call it a Game Boy like prerequisite for third ending. So of course everything you say is gonna be a prerequisite for the third ending. So feel free to mess with people as much as you'd like.
I mean, he could be talking about
I mean,
eating steak for dinner.
I'm gonna say honest stuff.
Yeah.
I see a few more questions. Was there supposed to be more stuff in the windmill field? So, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, when we first conceived the game, it had bigger levels that were more laid out like Last of Us style levels. Originally we had this whole sequence where you're chasing the cat through like these really large spaces that was timed to music. And it was basically like this whole thing that was trying to introduce the player to like the world and put like an impressive visual right at the beginning. But that once again ended up when everyone played the alpha of the game. The one complaint was it just takes too long to get to the dungeons, to get through like the core of the game, and the only way really was to remove that sequence altogether. It was really just ever supposed to just be a beautiful scene.
Can we turn the game volume up a little bit?
From the TV or in
like
the headset?
in the headset, because I can
All right.
barely hear. I can't even hear.
I mean, all right.
like as long as it's not too loud on.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's perfect.
All right. Well, so you're saying about people complaining that it takes too long to get to the game. I just want to throw Kingdom Hearts out there. It takes forever to get to any of the gameplay sometimes.
15 years to get to 30. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
It kind of comes down to like some games are able to get away with it either because like the intro cutscene is really incredible or it's a established series or an established creator. But like with indie games, you're pretty much screwed, and you have to make a really good first impression. So this is us trying our best.
So, quick question: should I just not like progress if someone's talking or if he's talking?
So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that most people are in here,
Yeah.
watching the chat,
Yeah.
have seen or played the game. The other thing is you have the subtitles on,
Right.
so if they care that much about the story, they can read it.
Okay.
It is a little disorienting to hear him talk and then the game say something, but we spent the entirety of our Kingdom Hearts playthrough talking through all the cutscenes, so it'll be.
You can also turn the voice acting down in the options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably just do that for now.
Yeah.
All right. So, right on that voice. Oh my God! It moves so slow. Move faster. All right, it's fine.
Apparently very relevant to what we're going to be doing.
Broken ass attack.
All right. So this is the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Now this is your second playthrough. Would you say you're proficient at the game yet?
I don't think I'll ever be proficient at this game.
Okay.
I mean, if I cheat, but
how do you cheat in this game?
well, I say cheat, but use the assist mode.
Okay.
which I may legitimately do depending on how much damage I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because, again, this is like the new rebalanced version of the game. So what's up with this guy, Andrew? Because I did this.
Matt Hawkins is a real guy. He runs a great website called Attract Mode. And I met him when I was first working on Y2K, and we were talking about doing I was talking about how I was making a game that was like kind of like a satire on like hipsters, and he was telling me a bunch of stories about people sorry, I just read a comment. I need to look at what that's about in a second.
I got you.
But he was telling me all these crazy stories about things that he was involved with in the early '90s, and he was he was an adult for this time period. So we talked about creating a quest around something that happened to him, where he was trying to create a magazine, and that's what this whole scenario is about. It's
Really?
basically kind of like a little joke with a friend of mine who I met making the game.
Oh, that's actually kind of interesting. So that's actually based off of like something that happened. Okay.
Let's see, there's a few other questions. Okay, let me see.
And this is where people began to hate Alex because he doesn't listen to his mommy.
Okay, so one thing I noticed starting the game was the date. It's a shame we started today instead of like a couple weeks ago. That would have been perfect.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we just go upstairs.
Oh.
Go ahead and read your.
All right, so I don't know which questions he wanted to ask. I'm not going to read all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can. I'm down to answer every question.
Okay.
So if you want to read all of them, that's fine with me.
Yeah. So someone says, was the Full House intentionally chosen as a layout for Alex's house?
Yes, it was. Basically, Alex's world is it's kind of made up of sort of idealized, an idealized sitcom world that he kind of lives in, and we kind of wanted to give that feeling right away. So we chose a house from an old sitcom of the time period. Also, the same reason why we kind of did a play on the Seinfeld logo for Southtown, and how all the other logos for the town graphics have a callback to a '90s era sitcom.
Yeah. If he had not pointed that out, I would not have noticed it. To
Same.
be 100% honest.
I was watching Power Rangers when this was.
Well, I mean, I grew up watching Full House, and not the reboot, but the remake with the Fuller House. My sister really enjoyed. But okay, so we have another one. Do you think the game is more balanced in the original version or the rebalanced version?
I think it's probably more balanced in the rebalanced version. Because I think the one thing we learned most from the critiques of the game was things we could do to make it more accessible to players, and there was some stuff that was just badly balanced. So we kind of did a sort of collective what all the general critiques were of the balance, and approached it from there and rebalanced it basically to the worst parts. So I think that the current balance is the best balance the game has had.
Would you say just kind of the goings on of your life at the time kind of had something to do with the original release of the game? I'm sure that probably did.
Yeah, I think a lot with the why you kind of end up balancing things the way you do the first time, or why something seems like a good idea at the time. When you're making something, it's super easy. It's super easy to just become a master at it. So you think something's very easy, and then your playtesters start thinking that the bad balance is easy too. So then you make it a little bit easier, and they go, "Oh yeah, this is much better," without bringing in a fresh set of eyes. So I think that's why that happened. And that's my plan to avoid that kind of issue in the future.
Okay. So in just a little bit, we're about to run into a Ocarina of Time reference, I do believe. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, an Ocarina of Time reference. Grandma Party, yeah, there are Easter eggs.
I love that sound. At first I was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, okay, I got you. So Obviously, if we missed your question because we're talking, don't feel bad. You can ask it again. I'm gonna scroll back up and try and get some of the ones we missed. One is, why is Eris crying at her own grave?
That's not her grave.
Oh,
That's the grave of FF7.
I don't think that happens in the game.
Okay. So you said you think it was just the FF7.
It's the grave of FF7.
Okay,
Because it's a
Eris.
dead game now.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't think that. I don't think that's it either.
Okay.
Oh.
So another one. Since we were talking about the main character being a self-insert and how
Oh my god.
you disagreed with that, somebody asked, did you ever actually try to put yourself into the game?
No, I never tried to put myself in the game. In my last game, Two Brothers, you can find the entire staff of the game in hell near the end of the game when you have to descend into hell. There we are in sprite form, being tortured by Satan for all eternity.
And what inspired you to do that?
All right.
It just seemed like a good idea at the time.
Okay. All right. So this is where things start to get freaky.
So right off the bat, good
pretty
good
much,
pace. Yeah.
Pretty much immediately, yeah. And there's one of the fuck yourself Alexes.
I don't know what you're talking about. So I'm gonna. So in the Essentia, I don't know if that's supposed to be essential or Essentia. But
Essentia.
in the Essentia dungeon, once you go into the Hall of Doors, headed towards the big reveal, she mentions coming back here with your, or back here when your mind is expanding. What's that about?
Doesn't look like anything to me.
Doesn't look like anything to you. Okay. Okay.
Maybe I'm just dumb, but like, or it could have just been I was just trying to beat the game because I don't have like any time ever. So, but I did not think about that at all. It just slipped past me. Because this is a game that strings you along very well, and you just want to know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's kind of written like a James Patterson book where like every time like you end a chapter on a cliffhanger, so the player always wants to keep playing. So it's kind of written like television episodes, right? Like serialized television was kind of the idea.
Yeah, you definitely nailed that. I'll say that for sure.
All right.
Well, thank you.
So this isn't my first time seeing combat in this game. I'm assuming you're trying to hit the yellow lines, and then the red line is the finish combo. Like
yellow ones build up power, and then the red one lets you go for another spin.
Okay.
So if you miss the red one, you just stop.
Okay.
Or if you miss 3 times. And I'm just gonna fight stuff for that sweet XP.
All right. So somebody says, "What the heck is that tower out in the ocean?"
There's gonna be a lot of stuff where I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
What is the tower in the ocean? The tower in the ocean is the final dungeon.
Okay. Do you think you treated Elisa Lamb's death ethically in this game? Is that the controversy thing that we were talking about? Is that something you want to talk about, or is that something?
Yeah, no. I'll make a comment on that. I hope I did. There was never any intention to disrespect anyone. Growing up, a lot of movies and stuff I read was inspired by real events, and it was very common, for people to draw on events that actually happened. And I tried to make the story less about that inspiration and more about the people who followed her death rather than about her death itself. And that was my intention, was to be writing about the kind of people who are into true crime or things like that. So that was where I was approaching it from.
Also, I think it's also fair to point out that Sammy doesn't necessarily die, so there's that. She just kind of gets like abducted. So.
Well, even on the other side of thing, like going back more towards what he was saying, like there are plenty of stories that are inspired by other events. Like even recently, wasn't there like a Ted Bundy like documentary that came out on Netflix? And like people were very upset with that as well. But it's a thing that happened, and people like they were upset that they portrayed him as like this charismatic guy. But that's one of the reasons he was allowed to, maybe not allowed to, but how he got away with stuff like that. Yeah, just because things are a tragedy doesn't mean you can't look at them again and be like, hey, like what's going on here. My personal take, because I haven't experienced a lot of the game or the situation you guys are talking about, but I don't think anything should ever be like taboo like that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because you hinder a lot of artists and a lot of just creative work, and also just a lot of discussion.
Yeah.
Like that's actually really harmful, I think.
I mean, there's also the old saying, like, those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. And if you block these subjects off, people will never learn from things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying there's a lot to learn from that situation, but discussion and thinking should always be available.
Yeah.
But
I think Andrew, you called it cancel culture. That's pretty much what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. I mean, I think it's easy to frame things certain ways. So if you want to see something as being done with like a bad intent, you can definitely get there about pretty much anything. So I think I understand why people had the reaction they did once they saw it framed in a certain way, and without all the information or full context of how the story ends. So like I think that's kind of what leads to sort of like cancel culture, where if something like upsets people, like that thing has to go away forever, and that person needs to go away forever.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's really bad, I think.
I think another thing that plays into that a lot is like the mob mentality. It's like, oh, well, this is something wrong. This is something I don't like. So let me get all my friends to say that this is wrong as well. And then it starts to gain momentum. It's one of the unfortunate things about, living in our modern age, where feedback and being connected with people is so easy to do, and it's so easy to sway people.
Yeah, and I think the YouTuber ContraPoints made a really good point where she says like we're so convinced with like all of our public discourse and how we communicate that we're in the forum, but really we're just in the circus. And I think that's a pretty great example of how kind of communication has become recently, where everything really is just a circus and a farce, but we've convinced ourselves that we're having like informed discourse,
some kind of meaningful discussion. Yeah, when really we're just shouting each other down.
But there's the other thing, like, never discuss religion or politics. Like, that's a surefire way to start an argument, which I disagree with that sentiment.
So do I.
I feel like we should be able to discuss these things, and instead of avoiding them, we should just teach people how to have a conversation with each other and how to respect people. But
what's crazy to me though is like these are lessons that we're teaching to 30, 40-year-old people. Yeah, right?
I disagree. I feel like, again, there is the vocal minority is a thing. I feel like people are much more like modern in their thoughts. They're not so polarized, but they're the ones who you're not going to hear their opinions from because they don't have those strong feelings one way or the other.
Oh, here's that panda. See, that tripped me up so hard. I was like, what the?
I could definitely see your
Yeah.
conversation or confusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I went in blind on purpose because it was such a strange-looking game.
All right, so somebody asking, so was Roy's death intended to spark discussion of suicide or is stigmatization of depression? It's a hard word to say sometimes.
We're getting some hard-ass questions.
Yeah. I think I was trying to show the importance of listening to people when they try and reach out to you, and how interactions with people that you feel you barely know can lead to sort of some pretty horrible things. So that was kind of what I was trying to show with giving the player the choice over that, to see if a player was playing like that, maybe they would stop and think, am I talking to someone I don't like this in real life? And is this something that I'm doing, and am I really being the best version of myself?
That I don't remember specifically the part, but I do know what they're talking about, or what you're talking about, because there is that part where Roy is like really, I don't remember what it was exactly, but he's upset about something, and the better in me came out for sure.
Yeah.
So you did a good job with a lot of stuff like that, I think.
Thank you.
Well,
I think that stuff could have been more impactful, um, if more people had come across it. So I actually find it to be a really good thing that most people don't even know that can happen in the game without data mining. I would prefer that like nobody ever finds out that that's something that you can make happen through your actions in the game.
Because then
Or
nobody would have done it.
exactly, it
Yeah.
would change my maybe give me a little bit more hope than I already have.
There is one thing that I do want to do, uh, which is the part where you have the option to kiss Rory. I didn't do it, but I think I'm gonna do it this time. Make him feel good about himself.
but obviously,
I don't know about that. I would read the room on that one.
Okay.
I don't know what you guys are referencing, but just talking about how like small acts can have this great positive or this great negative effect on people. There was this one time I was telling a story to one of my friends, and she looks at me and says, "You're talking about two things I literally do not care about."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was like two of the things that was like the greatest influences on my life at that point. So from that point forward, I was always very hesitant to talk about, these things to anyone. So, I was very upset about that for a long time. And even now, I try not to talk about them. And one of them is obviously, my my line of work is I stream and I do a lot of Smash Brothers tournaments, and that's one of the things that I was talking about. And she looks at me and she says, "I don't care." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess I'll just stop talking now."
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's gotta be pretty rough.
Yeah.
Man, I am stupid. I really don't remember what to do here.
Yeah.
You gotta put Panda on the switch at the bottom. You were onto it before, but I think
Right here?
I think maybe I'm behind you on the stream.
Yeah, there's a little bit of delay.
Okay. The hell was that? Discord. Shut up, Discord.
I think that was... Yeah, that was you logging out of Discord.
Oh.
Yeah.
On my phone. Gotcha.
Yeah, so he's still there. But there was somebody in the chat saying that he didn't read what Panda told him to do the first time, so he had to go back and reload a checkpoint just so he could get through it. He was a little embarrassed. But you know what? This is a single-player game. No one has to know your follies or flaws.
I legitimately can't remember what to do right now.
Did you read what the Panda said? But he said put the pen on the Switch.
Yeah, I was... What the? I did that like 3 times.
I think you missed. Yeah.
I was like, wait, okay, I must be doing something wrong here.
Yeah.
Okay, well. Fuck me. Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, hey, maybe I should... God dang it, I'm so sorry.
Grab the Panda or read
Yeah,
what
I
he
forgot
says.
I forgot to recall him.
Okay. Do you have to be right next to him to recall him? Or?
No, you just hit
Okay.
B.
Yeah. So
Then you have to drop him. Come on.
where do you just drop him off the
Stop.
side, or
There we go.
on that switch? Okay, I see.
I would let go of the joystick and he'd just turn. So
Yeah. What is?
This is I don't know what this is.
Okay. Proto woman.
Proto lady.
Oh. All right. You wanna? Okay. Yeah. Just leave the call so every time your phone closes, it doesn't put you in and out, because that's gonna drive me insane.
Me too, actually.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, as long as you left the call, you're good. All right.
so proto woman is yeah, I'm out of the thing. Okay, cool.
Are any of my mods still in chat? All right. So somebody linked me the Steam link, or the link to the Steam store for this game, and I'm gonna fix Nightbot to say that instead of linking the bracket for our tournaments. Which I mean, if you're in the middle of Georgia, feel free to come by and play in our tournaments. But yeah. So what the heck is Proto Woman anyway? Is she like an amalgamation of all women in existence?
She kind of.
The kind of idea behind it was like this sort of like, and we actually have proto characters in Two Brothers as well. You encounter Proto Jane at one point, and the whole idea was basically like they were supposed to be like these beings that sort of like represented like the first of something. So
Oh.
like the proto woman is supposed to kind of be like a representation of like the first in a long line of women.
Okay, that's interesting because I sort of got the impression that a lot of the because there's 3 that I know of proto folks in this game. And I always kind of got the impression that they were the end or like the amalgamation of that particular soul or entity.
So basically, like the proto prefix is supposed to be like the prototype, first version of
Oh,
your
yeah,
purest
right.
form.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't really think too much into it, to be honest.
No, it's okay. I mean, it sounds really kind of silly when I said it out loud. Like when you're making like fiction, like you kind of have to get into a level where like you can kind of explain like a pseudo philosophy behind it.
So this means that Alex's first existence was as a giant doom meteor, basically.
Sure does, doesn't it?
That's what it sounds like.
So, I listened to the first podcast that you two did together. I haven't had a chance to listen to the revisit where he comes in with his brother.
Right.
But obviously this is a very stylistic game. Like, what were your inspirations for like the art direction?
The biggest art inspiration was Mega Man Legends on PS1.
Really?
Every game you say, I love you more and more.
Yeah. Mega Man Legends. Obviously, Earthbound was part of the many inspirations for the game, and when we were trying to figure out obviously Earthbound Mother 64 never came out, but we see what Mother 64 would have looked like on N64. So we're like, well, if our game's about older characters, what's a game that could have a style that could fit into PS1 and also be set in like a sort of like modern society? Mega Man Legends came to mind, and that's kind of like why we started to go for that sort of direction.
Okay, so you just like games that don't get their sequels released. I see you. Poor
Exactly.
Mega Man, still on that.
So I made one that would never get a sequel.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, arguably, this game could get, infinite sequels.
Somebody asked, who's the dude who keeps calling Alex's house phone? All of those last calls at night was the creepiest and most terrifying moment in the game for me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad that moment was impactful. That was one of the first moments we actually conceived. We kind of wrote the game, kind of wrote it backwards. And the person who's calling throughout trying to give clues to Alex is kind of supposed to be Proto Michael when he's trapped inside the Mind Dungeon, and he's reaching out to all the other realities. And as he's sort of processing all of this stuff, he realizes that he can't outright tell Alex that reality is broken. If not, reality will break further for him. And that's the idea of who's calling.
Damn.
All
right, guys. Getting on our first controversial moment right here.
So what is this?
You'll see.
Okay. While you're running around a little bit more.
Made a big stink about nothing.
Okay. There was a question. Somebody said something and it disappeared. Where'd it go? So this entity in here says, look out for a man with green eyes. Is this an obvious allusion to someone in the game that just went way over my head?
Okay, this is gonna sound really stupid, but this is probably gonna get me into more trouble. Did you guys listen to the podcast Serial?
I think I've heard of it. That was like a missing persons thing, or like a
There
crime
was there
drama
was
thing.
a murder, and a person was accused named Adnan Syed, and they went to prison for it. And there was an extremely popular podcast that chronicles it, and the person who produces the podcast, they seem to think that he's innocent. And I thought it was really crazy how people would pick up on these details from like eyewitness reports, and how they people on the internet would just become obsessed with them and argue about them, and people would have like this almost amazing sort of savantism about how that they would look at these objects. And to sort of like, I wanted to give this sort of feeling of a sensationalized news story right before you go into the room where you meet Sammy. So all of those things are supposed to sort of like represent that. And then when you're in here, there's like the shallow grave,
Yeah.
and there's like the bones, and those, that's sort of like a reference to that kind of stuff.
So, real quick, the way Sammy talks, again, not knowing what an elevator is, and saying where else is there but here, is that to imply that she's just been here forever? like her whole existence?
Okay. So the idea is that, when this is filled with spoilers, which is totally cool. I think everyone here kind of expects that, 'cause
Yeah.
it's commentary.
Yeah.
So when Alex's reality breaks, which is when he's returning home from school, and he gets the phone call, that's the first break in reality. And this is almost like a portal into the soul space. So as Sammy's soul is sort of searching for a new location, she's almost caught in like a sort of like limbo, reaching out to all realities, cracks in them. And that's basically what's going on here. Is she's not really remembering what reality she came from, which realities were even real to her, and that's kind of the idea of why the conversation's almost like out of sync.
Oh, okay. That's really interesting. So, and that's what starts happening to Alex, like near the end of the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to everyone else in the game, when they turn into cartoons, that's also what's happened to them. But they're even more far gone than Sammy, because the reality they came from was destroyed, rather than she left her reality before.
Okay.
Right. So somebody says, "I definitely love to hear how the factory hotel has changed through development. It seems like it used to be quite a bit different."
Think it was, right?
Yeah, it was extremely different. It used to have like, there was a robot boss, and there was more outer space sequences, and it was actually like a 3-hour dungeon originally, and we were just over designing everything and over engineering everything. So the only things that remain from that are the eye puzzle, which was the first one that Brian designed for the game, and then the magic carpet sequence, and then everything else was completely redone.
Also, people are saying you sound like Rory in the game, and that's why people thought you
That's
sounded
really
familiar.
funny. No, that's Andrew Fyatt, Rory of Wind, who does Rory's voice, and
Yeah.
the character was kind of written after Yuri of Wind's internet persona, which is like a sort of like, okay, so like Yuri of Wind is a YouTuber who does this YouTube series called Bullshit Creepypasta Storytime,
Yeah.
and he basically reads creepypasta, and so his exaggerated character is someone who believes in every conspiracy, and they believe in all the creepypasta.
Also, I was just looking at my screen and I noticed something. Is it are those black boxes supposed
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
there?
yeah.
Okay. I was like,
That's just this because the game's been normal this whole time.
okay.
Also,
I
I think
didn't
I'm
know if
dumb.
we
I
just
think I was having to go right.
Forgot to enlarge the screen because I know you change that for your TV sometimes, but it'll be okay.
Is this a Lost Woods situation?
No, it's, you have to open both the left and the right door. and then
Uh-oh.
inspect the eye.
How did I figure this out the first time?
That's a good question. So, where did you draw your inspirations for a lot of these puzzles? I do a lot of D&D, and I always find myself lost for
please
puzzles and stuff
Don't
sometimes.
tell me. Please don't tell me.
So yeah, the puzzles are I don't know, like it's not something that comes easy to us, I don't think. So like we try and make good puzzles, but I don't know if it's our strength. So we kind of usually start with the outcome. So what do we want the outcome to be? So for that puzzle, the kind of idea was to have something that required the player to focus on the center of the screen while making it the only things you can interact being on the left and right. So to divert the player's attention away from the objects you need to inspect. So that was kind of the idea for designing that one.
Also, somebody was asking, who's that silhouette that we just saw? The one with the ponytail?
It's kind of a joke, really. We couldn't re-record Sammy's dialogue, and when we redesigned the dungeon, because the actress was extremely busy, and we no longer had an office to record in, so we had this dialogue that we could only chop up in so many ways to make sense around the new dungeon, and we needed the roommate line in there for her line to flow. So we did the silhouette passing by almost as like a joke to ourselves. Like, well, that's something we never get to show.
Oh, this line right here.
And that was kind of the idea.
His name is Wilhelm. But no Wilhelm scream.
I mean, it's the best kind of scream, really.
Yeah, it's the best one.
Somebody said, wait, go to her stats.
Oh, okay. The chat's gonna be, the picture.
I'll say, what is wrong with your face?
Is there something else we need to be seeing?
Oh.
But I'm
so
pretty sure it's just the face.
what are the red numbers? Is that just,
I think it's just a stylistic thing.
Okay.
It's like red, blue, kind of.
Okay.
Because I was wondering the same thing when I played, but I'm pretty sure that's all that is.
Somebody said, was it intentional that the one-hit wonder record was such great synergy with the EP strike move? I thought it was a really clever play on words.
Oh,
yeah, that was the idea.
Okay. Another one says, has anyone ever used her revival skill? You'd have to try really hard for Alex to die in 2 battles.
Let's see.
I don't know. I read that like it was a question for you. I just got in the flow of reading questions. Like, yeah, man, this is a question for him.
The idea behind,
yeah,
I think our streams behind our connection's kind of bad on Discord. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like we got full bars now.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Obviously.
Okay, so I'm gonna answer the question about the revive skill. The idea was we wanted people to look at her stuff and assume that she was going to be a party member forever now. That's why she has those skills.
Okay.
That Paper Mario-ass minigame right there. I love it. Oh my god, she does a ton of damage. I missed it the first time.
So somebody asked, is Sammy's voice actor being busy?
And to
Go ahead.
This one.
no, so Spectre, Sammy, and the Sammy you meet here, they have a lot of differences based on their journey outside. So the idea was she would have changed by the time you encountered her again, kind of like in the Matrix when they like re-encounter the Oracle after the actress passed away. Was kind of the idea.
Speaking of, what a good series.
Mm-hmm. The Matrix, or
Oh yeah, The Matrix.
okay, just checking.
I think you showed your wife that for the first time a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, she watched it for the first time. She knew nothing about the story at all, which was hysterical to me. I have no idea how. Well, okay, so her her parents. So she's first generation, so she didn't have to watch a lot of movies that like would have been expected people have watched growing up, even though she's the same age as me. So I think that has something to do with why she missed it.
All right. Somebody's asking, does the luck stat have anything to do with the third ending of the game? Just wondering if any of the stats need to be a specific thing to achieve it.
No, that would be very cruel.
Yes, that would be.
Crueler than it already is. Hey, he said shithole. There we go. So this is the big marketable scene of the game. Hey, Bulby's following me. Thanks. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Somebody said, so this is more of a question for the audience and maybe you, James. But what do you think is the hardest attack skill to pull? What is the hardest attack or skill to pull off?
Oh.
Yeah.
The one I remember having the most issue with, even more than Essentia, was Michael's, the camera thing. And I guess it has to do with the fact that the third attack is like right next to the second one, and I just had trouble recognizing what was coming up. So it's really a me problem, I think. But
yeah.
it is pretty quick. That, and for whatever, I blame Microsoft for this, and the 360 being so popular, but I would always mix up X and Y. A and B I got down, but X and Y, for whatever reason, like those two. And
Well, X and Y are always in X, specifically X, because it's on every game console controller ever. It's always in a different place.
yeah.
Like, we're both holding, well, I'm not holding my Nintendo console controller, but you're holding one and I have one on the floor.
And I would
they're
think
in
X
different
is here.
places. Yeah, well, see, I would think
Because
X
of Halo.
X is on the right. Yeah. So, X button. We need a new button. But somebody asked, what is your favorite loading screen hint in the game? Towards you, Andrew.
I like the one about video games not being a waste of time,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
because I
Forgot
think
all about
that's
the
true.
clips.
I think video games are a wonderful way to spend your time.
Of course. I mean, obviously, there are the people who develop them, like yourself, the people who just enjoy them, and the people on stream.
Dolly's face, and I didn't actually catch it the first time.
I missed it too.
Dude, I love the model for Dolly. Okay, so I don't. Okay,
Jesus,
yeah.
her-
See, this is where shit gets weird.
Yeah.
Weirder. Sorry.
She looks terrified.
Yeah, but it gets worse. Like, check this out. Because see her arm, like she like starts skeletonizing.
Yeah. Jesus, this is terrifying.
And that's kind of what got me. I'm guessing this is what he called a Spectre Sammy. And I don't think this is, because you kind of go through the process later of transitioning worlds. So that's what made me so curious about exactly what's going on here. It's almost like she's being ripped out of the reality. In a bad kind of way. Are you okay, Andrew? What is that?
I'm here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm putting in because I'm a hungry boy. Because I forgot when I agreed to this that I usually eat dinner like in the middle of it.
Oh. Hey, it's okay. You do you. This is just.
But
Okay.
I'm having a great time. You guys listen to Cooking with Andrew.
Yeah. Little did you guys know we're gonna pull a switcheroo. We're gonna change the stream over to his house. He's gonna be cooking us a nice, sounds like a microwave dinner.
Delicious,
Yeah.
Chef Ramsay style.
Only the best for us here.
So
Exactly.
you're gonna throw whatever it is across the room and yell at it. Is that?
No. This is European Chef Ramsay when he's on their TV and he's a nice guy and he, like shows his family.
Oh, there's the lady again. There's Protovella again.
All right.
I'm just taking a guess. Actually, I have no idea. It could be Alex's mom for all I know. You are my favorite customer. Yeah, sure. It's probably his mom.
All right. Someone asks, do the dialogue choices you make have an impact on the third ending? I'm debating on doing a run where Alex says nothing but bad things to his friends to see what happens.
that will not get you the third ending. Like
so it doesn't.
specifically, like if you go out of your way, the third ending does require Rory to be alive.
So
So,
don't kill Rory.
because I'm not going to reward that. Yeah, so be nice to Rory.
What a good guy.
Mhm.
you, you can't get the secret ending if you kill your party member. Fuck you. Oh, okay. I can move. Right.
People are saying I would never kill my boy. Good to know.
I never used him, but I also never killed him. So
Oh, so Echo Master 21. If you did it in the original save file, no, it doesn't matter. But if you're on a new game plus, you need you then it doesn't work. Then it does work. So just if you're in a new game plus, this is on PC because like I said, it's different on each console. On PC, you have to be on New Game Plus, and you in that save data, you shouldn't have been mean.
Also, you bring up, that things are different for each version. Were some of the difficulties, creating the game for different consoles? Like, is there
Well,
anything
you know
interesting
they
there?
they all have different different hardware that you have to deal with. Shaders don't work across all platforms, things like that. So that's the kind of stuff that is the biggest difficulty. When we first were developing, Unity wasn't really that great on PS4 yet, so it took us a long time to get the game to run on it. And with the current versions of Unity, it would have been really easy. So that was like the kind of stuff we had to fight against.
man, if you thought that stuff was hard, you should wait till you try getting the skins on VR chat. That is a broken game, but it's so fun.
I mean,
Game. It's not really a game.
I was gonna say, would you even really call it a game? But teach their own.
Well, I did
Yeah.
find a room with sort of like jetpack things that you can just fly around forever. It's more like a airplane, I guess. But
Yeah.
dude, that crap is so fun. And it was smooth and fluid. It didn't feel janky. So if you guys have VR chat, go check out the Tree in the Shade room. I believe you can ride a VR jetpack and get motion sickness and throw up all over your living room floor. Yeah.
Did you do that?
No.
I was about to say.
But I did get motion sickness, and I already have my VR legs, so
Yeah.
it's something.
Oh, so somebody is really bad at their job again, and that someone would be me. I did not change the title or the game on Twitch.
On the bright side, I think we've announced it so much that the main audience is probably already here. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely do that.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and do that.
No, that's-
Did we
I can
give this
actually
the title at all, or are we just playing?
just what you mean like the title of the stream?
Yeah.
YiiK with I did it. YiiK with dev commentary or Act Studios or whatever. That'll work. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, just figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get some more views in it. That was completely my fault.
I think if people see the stream they've never seen before, but they see that, they'll probably jump in.
Yeah. That's actually one of the worst things you can do on Twitch is have the wrong game up.
Yeah.
So that's my fault completely. I've done you all a disservice. But you know what? The true fans knew.
Yeah, that's
Alright.
that was my argument. So, okay, how often is it nighttime in Frankton?
All right.
This is the only time I know of.
Also, people are making fun of me now. That's fine. But so there's a musical phrase that appears in several battle themes, and at least one or two that contain a motive from that phrase. Any significance to the phrase besides "this means fight"?
There it is. I'm not gonna fight.
Well,
that.
it was kind of like the idea of like there had to be like a sort of like a central sort of like battle theme that can be used, and then the sort of idea was like, oh, this yes, this means you're in combat with an enemy, but how it's presented sort of dictates like what the combat mood is going to feel like. So it's almost kind of like the opposite way of how you framed it. Rather like of course this means fight, but how is the motif presented? That kind of matters more, like overall.
All right, and because of my little snafu there, people are saying, all right, so Alex is going to be in Smash. What was it? Who would Alex main if he played Smash Brothers? I really like that question.
Oh man, that's a good question. Alex would main Cloud from Final Fantasy
That's actually probably the best answer, I think.
Yeah, he would never use the Advent Children costume. Wouldn't know what it is.
Wouldn't know what it is and would think it sucks.
It's non-canonical.
I really don't know why they made Advent Children. I mean, I do, but
I mean,
I don't.
It was interesting to watch. I never played Final Fantasy VII, so I enjoyed it.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You're not missing much. It's fine. It's just not like the huge deal that people made it out to be over the last 15 years. Okay, so one of the mistakes, I guess. I don't know if it was a mistake or not, but I didn't actually mess with the forums until like I didn't mess with the forums till like near the end of the game because I knew I was near the end of the game. And
that's funny.
I figured it was like the side quest area, so I just kind of did what I usually do and save all that for the end of the game. And I think I was probably mostly right. But do you recommend checking Onism throughout the playthrough, or?
Yeah, I think it's really important that you that if you want the full experience, to be checking it basically after each story that returns you to Alex.
Okay.
That's basic. Like they technically update in between, but it's kind of the idea is like we kind of expected the player to check it every time they're back at Alex's house.
Okay.
And I actually kind of regret not having something pop up where Alex is like, maybe I should check Onism or something.
Yeah, because that was something I kind of wondered about was, should I be doing this? Is it really good? Because that could have... What?
Porn. I mean, it's the internet, so I get it, but...
It was most certainly going to be pornographic.
Yeah.
Maybe, but... What was I saying? Yeah, I was sort of wondering if that was the intention or not. And I guess now we know for sure.
Yeah, and there's actually another thing I'll point out about this thing here is when Alex is talking here, he, this narration is in the future. This is him recalling the story. So he seems like nonchalant about what he's about to see, and that's because at this point he's accepted a lot of it. So
right.
It's that's not supposed to be his. That wasn't his like state of mind. So he was also, when he did experience it, reality had started to break. So he was perceiving things in different, almost like something bad would happen. He won't internalize it, until enough time has passed. Kind of like the idea there.
Also, I see an F-bomb here in the chat, and I didn't realize it until it happened. But you saved the audible F-bombs for literally the last part of the game.
Yeah, it was like that was a conscious choice. Like actually, in the original script, the line is. Can I swear on your channel? Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, we've been cousins. So.
Okay, cool. So, like at the end of the line is you fucked up, and originally it said you screwed up, and then when the voice actor was in the booth, he's like, nah, this doesn't make sense. It should be you fucked up. This is a fuck up. So that was the idea of saving that.
Kick me out.
So that way it had the most impact.
So I was staying there to ask you a question. I didn't notice until now, but the last picture shows one of those jester things, like in the elevator with the door closed. Is that a hint or something, or is that just like an artifact?
Doesn't look like anything to me.
Okay.
I love it when you answer that, because obviously, again, I don't know a lot about the game, but I just assume everyone who's watching is like, oh my god, this is it. So
the dinner he's making is a hint to
Yeah.
the third ending.
So, obviously you're here doing
Thanks.
this Let's Play with us, and I'm assuming you keep an eye on like community forums and stuff like this. Has anyone that you've seen even gotten close to getting the third ending, or like how much progress do you think people have made towards it?
There is one guy who's figuring out stuff ahead of everyone, but he's pretty passionate about it not being ruined for other people. Um, because he knows that my hope is when the third ending is found, what it is not actually spoiled, and people just tell people how to get it, so the players can experience it for themselves.
Right.
So he knows about that. So he's been sending me some stuff, but he's okay. So like to get the on the PC version to get the final ending, there are three brothers, Dick, Dax, and Chad, and each one of them has a pill that you need that you swallow, and then Alex throws up the key that gets you into the final dungeon. And he's found the complete quest for the first brother, Chad, and just encountered Dax. So that's where he's at now.
That's insane that it's taken this long. Like usually,
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
I mean, it's obtuse by design.
Yeah, and I actually love that. That's a really cool thing.
I just thought of Ready Player One for a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he was. I think it was on the podcast. He was talking about it, and or something. I don't remember, but I was gonna point out like, so this is your Ready Player One more or less, except a lot less. How do I
This
put it?
no, I don't know. I wouldn't like. Actually, I'm not a fan of one.
You know,
Um,
I'm not either now that the movie's out.
so like it's like kind of like that like time period like when like Big Bang Theory was coming out and everything was just like a circle jerk of like how much like nerd knowledge you could have and like how much you can just kind of like gatekeep against people because like
Right.
it's like the ultimate like every time you go into like a board like a miniature like Warhammer shop, there's always going to be someone who's going to be like gatekeeping like crazy, and that entire book is just written like that. Like when the game references stuff that happens, like the idea rather than just supposed to be like, oh, that was the thing. The idea was supposed to be to make it feel like they have lives beyond the story, which is the main thing that I wanted to feel like. If they reference like a game that they played or something like that comes up, it's because the characters, they're doing things other than the quest. This quest only just appeared to them, and so trying to make it sound like a conversation you would have with someone. That's why things like Chrono Trigger and stuff are referenced, not to be like a sort of Ready Player One like member berries kind of thing.
Well,
So if it came off like that, that's kind of disappointing.
well, the only time that I can really think of was when it's pretty soon, but like Michael's like, oh yeah, these are my favorite RPGs, and like that's it. That's the only time I remember anything. I guess that you
Well,
could
that
say.
is like the only time that it happens. And then but then when the game first came out, there was the meme where people took that scene and like, oh, the game is like a neckbeard circle jerk about old video games like Ready Player One. I'm like, oh man, it's really not. That's a shame.
And they
That's
don't even
that's a
know that
bad
you don't
meme.
have a neck beard.
Yeah, I actually don't have any facial hair at all. I can't grow it.
Oh, lucky you.
All right. So someone asked, as an indie game developer,
Oh my
what
God.
did you get from Travis Strikes Again?
How did I miss that?
Okay, so in full disclosure, I have not completed Travis Strikes Again. I only started, and I think there's a lot of really cool stuff in there. I understand the design choices probably come out of the desire to make a bunch of different games, but realistically, you only have so much time. So I think it was kind of like a great way for the developers to sort of get to work on a bunch of projects at once. So like as a developer, when I look at them, like, oh, that would be really exciting because you get to do so many different types of things.
Now that I've started talking to game devs, hopefully for a living one day, I'm starting to have a lot of really stupid ideas for video games. It's just
So they're all stupid until you make them good, right? So like,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
pretty
that's
much every idea for like kind of stupid.
like the Pog thing. It seems like a silly idea, but I think if we can manage, well, I say we like me and you, but if someone can manage to put that together, it could be pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of what I had in mind was like a mixture of Munchkin and like 3 other games.
Mhm. I remember being in high school and like each of us trying to make like our own little card games and stuff, and
I'm
like
still doing it.
yeah, but you know it's a very difficult thing to do. But I remember so many people just, oh yeah, it's just Magic, except I made my own cards. I'm like, well, that's not fun.
So you
It's
made
not
Magic.
interesting.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Um,
Oh, this is another one of those. Pretty much every time you answer this phone, it's gonna be yeah that.
That idea was about at the time when I started writing it. I was like in severe debt, and I kept getting like these phone calls from like debt collectors and
Oh
stuff.
God.
So then when we got funding for the game, I was able to pay off the debt, and it was only like $400 that I was behind on like a student loan. And but then when I finally paid it off, the phone calls continued, but there was just nobody on the other end, and I would get them at nighttime and all at odd hours. And then once or twice, like there would be someone breathing on the other end. I'm like, it is
Jesus.
really really strange. So
Loan
that was the
sharks?
idea of basically writing about the anxiety of like hearing a phone, and how if the person on the if you're expecting bad news, answering the phone can get very frustrating and very alarming.
Yeah, that's why I just don't.
So that was kind of the idea there.
I don't necessarily expect the worst to happen. If I don't know a number, I just don't pick it up. Period.
I mean, nowadays I can see that because everything, like so much of it is spam calls and stuff. But when you start running businesses and stuff like that, or you're waiting on a call back for like a job interview, you really have to keep an eye on your phone sometimes because you never know what's gonna call. But no, it is very frustrating. Like you just sit down to dinner and it's like, hey, even though I don't have any loans or anything, they keep calling my house like, hey, your loans are overdue. You owe us a bunch of money. Yeah. But yeah,
I'm gonna get my sticker
your sticker.
in my magazine. And Andrew just fell over and cracked his head on the floor.
I'm dead.
Oh no.
Okay. I'm gonna give him all of the monies,
Yes.
I think.
Somebody said gotta support the zine like an hour ago when you went to talk to him the first time.
I love where this goes though, because I mean, he does eventually do it. I think that's all you gotta do. Yeah. So he does eventually do it, but like along the way, you keep coming back to him. He's like, "Hey, so where's the magazine?" He's like, "Oh, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I am."
That makes me think of Kickstarters just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's about
Yeah.
the difficulties of crowdfunding.
So that's a really funny side quest, I think.
So
Good old Michael. Here we go. He's good for like a few minutes, and then we get Vela.
since you brought up crowdfunding, was there any like crowdfunding involved in this game or any of your other
No.
projects? Okay.
Yeah, the first game we made was done on Kickstarter, and then this one was done through a publisher who funded development.
Isbrid, or
Yes.
something. So it's a little funny to me how and it's all just coincidence, but we have YiiK being made by YiiK, published by Isbrid.
Yeah. Just these absurd
Yes.
names. Yeah.
Where did where did you guys get the name for your studio though? I'm just curious.
We knew we needed to form an LLC, so we jammed something on the keyboard, Jersey LLC website, and ACKK came out. And it's like, that's a cool sound. Let's use that.
Yeah. Okay. And then I actually like the barcode look to the logo there. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I made that in Photoshop.
well, it ended up looking pretty cool. So good on
Yeah.
you. You got to make this stuff somewhere. I'm still working on figuring out a banner from a freaking Patreon and what else, like SoundCloud and stuff.
Do you have a banner in your Twitter yet? Or
No.
yeah.
Because I can't think of anything. Like last night we were on one of those weird like image modifier thingies where like it takes a base and then you take another image and it sort of superimposes that one in different
Yeah.
ways. And so it's like this weird LSD dream emulator thing.
Yeah.
And it just I tried to take the dactyl from my dactyl
Yeah.
from the picture, and then superimpose that over the Gygus pattern, and that just didn't work. I was so mad.
All right. Swordbright says talk about chromophore.
Yeah,
Oh,
talk
Chroma
about
4. Yeah, okay, so Chroma 4, we have an outside studio developing the main game with us directing. Um, they're going to use all the original assets, and they're going to use the original music for the game, and we cleaned up the script on our end, and then we're overseeing and directing the game. But then we have other programmers developing it, and they're a studio who's made action RPGs before, so it's going to be a cool collaboration when it's done.
I look forward to it for sure.
Thanks.
And obviously anything else that comes out, because I do really like the style of yours and Brian's collaborative efforts.
Thank you.
If you can say nothing else about this game, it's unique for sure. Like there's nothing like
It's true.
it. I personally think.
It's true, for better or worse.
And there's a lot of really interesting, profound sort of ideas. Oh, we gotta go get his camera.
Alright.
Yeah, by the way, I'm not reading anymore, so I've already beaten the game, so I'll just read the hints.
Just read the hints. Okay.
They do a pretty good job.
Okay. I am also not reading anything they say because I'm keeping an eye on the chat. So if we get lost forever, this is your fault.
The key to go to the
Yeah.
camera shop.
Yeah.
Right. But someone asks, okay, so first he says, I was super weirded out when I saw my Switch sitting next to the TV in the game. Was there ever a Wii U model, and what happens in that scene when you play YiiK on a Vita?
There was a
Oh yeah, this is the scene he was talking about.
there was a Wii U model for that scene. On the Vita, it comes out like in your hands. So it's like you see like virtual hands, and that's how that worked.
You talking about the part at the end of the game?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that was actually pretty awesome. That was a really cool reveal. I was a little sad to find out what I looked like, though.
Is it just a picture of your face?
No, you're just like Nick,
Yeah, it just becomes black screen.
you're just like Neckbeard Alex, basically, with like D&D armor on, like LARPing armor.
Wow.
It's
Also, you said black screen. Have you watched like any Black Mirror or anything like that? Because I've heard.
you know it.
Go ahead.
I've seen Black Mirror. Yeah. There's a lot of really good episodes.
Yeah.
Is there anything back here?
The first time I was introduced to Black Mirror, somebody said, "Hey, pull out your phone, but don't turn it on." And like, do you see that? I'm like, "See what?" He's like, "Your phone. It's black. It's a mirror." And I was like, oh,
All right, you've
okay.
seen Black Mirror.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
And that is one of many of our lame jokes.
Yeah.
And we'll be here all night, folks. So.
Eh. Maybe not all night, but somebody is also asking, does selecting female make you look different at the ending?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't.
Oh.
What?
I just want to see if this glitch is still here.
I wasn't
Oh, God.
aware that there were a choice. Also, Alex is a very great androgynous name.
Yeah,
So,
it is,
yeah.
actually. You actually do see female Alex in one of the dungeons for just a second. Okay, look at the goth chick. She's... she goes bug-eyed for a second.
For just a second.
Yeah. Like, for a second, I really thought that was just the model, and then it would fix itself. Oh, yeah, I can't... Alright. We'll just get the cheap camera, it's fine.
No, man. If you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. You gotta go
I
big.
can't. There is no doing it right.
Okay.
Because you're buying all those. Oh, you actually don't have to. He picked up the camera, so you have it in your thing, as the dialogue says. So you don't actually have to buy a camera.
Man, if I would just read, that'd be...
That's cool.
Oh.
Motherfucker. Well, you know what? We got to see bug-eyed goth chick, so...
I was expecting something a little bit more like noticeable. Like I saw how small she was. I was like, did she shrink? What's going on? And you're like, no, she's just bug-eyed. I was like, oh,
Stuff like that.
yeah.
It's just funny to me.
Yeah.
Catches my eye. Also, one thing you kind of notice when you talk to a lot of people in this game is they tend to be really down about things.
I mean,
It's kind of a interesting juxtaposition to most RPGs, I think.
this was set in 1999.
Yeah, when everyone was just horrible.
Oh, I was gonna.
Well, everyone's still horrible, so.
I mean, if it was set now, I feel like young people being anxious and depressed would be very relevant. But so
Here are the couple of characters from the last game. The fountain.
so I don't know if you've ever answered or been asked this question, but how many people in the game were based on like people in your real life?
Only two. Michael is based on a real person, and Matt Hawkins is based on a real person, and that's it.
Oh, real quick. Someone suggested something. I mean, it's up to you, obviously, to do it, but they said the arcade would be a great place to practice minigames for the different skills.
Yeah, that was actually the original plan.
Oh, okay.
It's a great idea. Maybe we'll be able to patch it in,
I mean, obviously that would
because it is a good
probably-
idea.
I don't know how much work that would be, but seems.
It would be like maybe like 16 hours of work.
Oh God, that still sounds like a lot. I think.
It's 2 days. It's a lot if they're billable hours, but when you work for yourself and don't pay yourself,
Right.
really cheap.
Right. Yeah, that was really gameplay wise probably the biggest thing that kind of got to me was anytime I got a new skill, it was really intimidating because I didn't have any reference points to what was like what it was going to be like. So now, granted, after failing a couple of times, I I figured it out, but I'm sorry I keep doing that. I don't know what's going on.
Hey man, it's
dying.
life. We gotta live. But someone asked, was
What you
Proto
say.
Michael ever intended to be his own party member?
No.
Work 10 hours a day, go find someone who cares. What? What am I? Oh, okay.
All right. Another one is, you mentioned in an interview that the physical release would come with a patch that added more side quests. Will Cape Juno be included in that by chance?
If everything goes according to plan, yes, it will be, as well as the conclusion to the Cape Journal story.
Bless you, child.
Mhm.
And that if that goes according to plan, is very that if it reports that. Don't cut that part out.
I don't think we're going to be editing
Yeah, no, we're not.
anything because it is a live stream, so people can hear everything.
No, what I meant was if someone reports something from the stream, like
Oh, okay.
they confirmed to have Cape Juno or something.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. But
Okay, so we're about to get to that song that I had a problem with.
Like, oh, I know which one it is now.
Yeah. There are going to be a couple of scenes where I'm just going to stop and say explain.
Ask questions.
Just explain.
Okay, sounds good.
That's going to be a little later though. It's not anytime terribly soon. I don't think so anyway. I'm kind of forgetting the order of things. What the hell?
Yeah, I'm gonna get my. Don't. Oh, I won't be hearing the roasting.
his house is on fire. Oh no.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a fire alarm.
Yeah. It may have been a smoke alarm because that's definitely what it sounded like. He's like, oh,
Okay,
pizza.
so what I can do since he's doing his thing is I can subject you all to it because it's just this room. It's just in the room. So I don't have to actually like do the fight. So I can let you guys suffer while I take a piss.
Oh. I mean, if that's what we're gonna do, I mean that's fine.
Bathroom break.
All right, 2 minutes. We both leave. He comes back, guys. Guys, what's going on?
Okay, I may have lied. I think you do actually have to do the fight, but still, I can wait. Because I think he told me to wait while he gets his food.
Yeah. So while we're waiting, what's up, chat? Like, are you guys enjoying yourselves? How's everyone doing? Someone says I like this song, but I don't think this is the song
This is
you're
not the
talking
song.
about. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
you want to tag out when I get back, or?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. The player is named Zelda, who controls Alex with a happy smile. I really like, just the sound design of the game that I've seen so far. Like, I feel this is a very atmospheric thing. It's very creepy. Like, I have that kind of like tingling sensation going through my body listening to this right now. I was like, I don't like what I think is about to happen.
I'm almost back.
All right. Well, James stepped out of the room for just a moment, but he will be right back. But since it's just you and me, like, again, I want to say thank you for you being here. I feel like everyone's really enjoying this, and James is back, so I'll be BRB. You guys can go on without me, though. You guys don't need me to do anything.
I am here. Andrew has returned.
Okay. I'm back.
Hey.
So he said I didn't have to wait on him, but I'm gonna wait anyway because I want him to be subjected to this as well.
Oh my god. That's hysterical. Why do you hate it so much?
It's just I don't actually hate it. It's just like a really awkward song. That's really all there is
Oh
to
really?
it.
That's fine. So I'll tell you the story behind it.
Absolutely.
It was written for the prototype, and we weren't going to use it because we wanted to do like a vocal battle theme, so we threw it together. When we paid a lot of money for the vocalist, so we're like, oh, let's put it in the game. So we kind of put it in here, but it ended up, not really matching as well as the other music that was written after our song.
So it was really just a matter of, well, we spent money on it, so we're just gonna use it.
Yeah, man, I do like the song. I'm not throwing the song under the bus.
Yeah, I like the song. I feel like maybe I don't know. It could have been touched up a bit or something.
Could have been what?
Like just touched up a little bit. That's all.
Mm.
Because the instruments are pretty sound. All right. I waited for you because
I mean, you didn't need me.
I hate you. That's why I
Okay.
waited for you.
Oh, you just want me to suffer with you. I got you. That's fine. That's how you know we're friends. We have to suffer together.
Yeah, that's how it works. There we go. And see, it actually starts out fine. Oh, this is actually a very like Earthboundy sort of looking place too. All right, so the first thing you learn against Soul Survivors is well, you can't do anything to them because they're all Gygas. They're protected by things. Yeah, see, there I go hitting X on the wrong. There I go hitting Y, thinking it's X. Okay. And that was the point where I decided to run away.
Did someone just get one shot at it, or?
Just about.
So why don't you like this song?
I don't know. It just kind of. It was just the vocals. I think is what got me. Because everything else is pretty sound.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't mean to make like a huge deal out of it though.
Also,
I'm just. Wait, what the?
what is?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Oh. Wait, why is he shaking like that? To make you run away, I think.
Oh God.
Oh no, he
he's
is chasing.
you.
Okay.
So I was just reading the chat, and like while you were out, like I was saying, the sound his eye was giving like kind of tingles, and they said, "Oh, just wait." And then you start shaking and coming at you, and I felt it. Just like,
Oh, that's fine.
yeah. But somebody said, "What is your favorite song in the game?"
Oh man, there's one. His favorite song probably.
It's everyone, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite one is probably like Frankton's theme and Machine and the Crow. I like. But my favorite one that I didn't write is probably Sammy's theme.
Yeah, that one is really good actually. I like that one a lot. There's one song that reminds me a lot of like the downtime in Persona games. I just can't remember like what it's called.
Oh yeah, that was on purpose.
Yeah, you absolutely captured that feel.
Yeah.
So I think you're a very talented musician for sure, or composer or whatever. Both.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Because a lot of these songs definitely get stuck in my head. For the best of reasons.
Yeah, that's what I studied in college. I studied music, and before that, in community college, I studied computer science, and
This is
so,
so right after I beat the game, I was still pretty hyped about it. And I heard this version of the main theme, and I was like, this needs to be turned into a meme, like a bad situation meme, because it's just like the trumpet.
Yeah. Also, is there? I know you've made the joke that memes will destroy the world.
No, they will. Yeah.
Is there a higher form of flattery and like cultural relevance than something you created being turned into a meme?
Imitation.
I mean, yeah, I could see that.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. But, you know,
Because memes can be done offensively or affectionately.
this is true. But, you know, in either case, I
Very
feel
true.
like, you know, just the number of eyes going back to, you know, there's no such thing as bad publicity. But you know, you never want to be in the bad publicity part.
I mean, tell
Yeah.
R. Kelly that. He's like losing his mind right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've all seen the meme of that interview, so
Yeah.
yeah. Go back to Alex's house. It's so much safer there. Hey, maybe I should, go that way. There we go.
So is every phone just a save point? Okay.
Well, it's also... Oh, is this the... I thought this was like a Snoopy... Yeah. Yeah, there's Barksy. Okay. Oh, that's right. I think I have to talk to you again.
Is he shaking down for money again?
If I'm talking to him, I'm not really sure. I don't know what to
Oh.
call that. Am I shaking him down to give him money?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's a thing that happens a lot these days, actually.
You
Screaming at people for early access codes.
Yeah. You're the problem, James. No, but when we were at MomoCon last year, I was meeting some of my friends to give them their badges because I had them on me. And there's this guy, he says, "Oh, I'm a traveling monk. Here, let me give you this book and then you can pay me however much you want." And he's like, "Oh," my friend says, "Oh, I don't have any cash." And he pulls out a cell phone and one of the square things. He's like, "Oh, that's okay. We take card now." And I was like,
Oh my god.
"Damn, man, these they
Shaking you down for donations.
yeah, they're evolving with the times, my man." He was livid too. He's like, "He got me."
I mean, you can still say no.
I mean, you can,
It's
but
just awkward.
Yeah. And it was funny because
Hear that? It's less awkward to give them your money than to just say no.
yeah, yeah. And it was funny because I walked up like a moment before he talked to them, and he straight up ignored me. I was like, do I look like I'm broke, or is it because I'm Asian and he's claiming to be a monk that he doesn't want to talk to me?
So, that ties into a little joke that we said in the last podcast about stealing people's wallets a little bit. always ask before you steal someone's money?
Oh yeah, it's very important.
That's exactly what that is. Sounds like he's eating a feast on the other side of the Discord.
Well, I think he said pizza earlier, so
Pizza,
yes.
yeah.
Also,
I'll mute myself until I talk. Sorry.
oh, it's all good, man. I appreciate that actually, because one time, so sometimes when I stream, I have a button to where I can talk to my commentators, but not to the mainstream, and I forget that the commentators can still hear me sometimes. So I was just sitting there like chowing down, and the commentators like, I know you guys can't hear this, but somebody's smacking up a store in my ear, and it's driving me insane. I was like, oh shit, my bad, dude. Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
luckily Andrew's not doing that, but
Yeah. But somebody said, "Yo, I just heard about this game today, and he might give it a try." So you definitely should. I'm having a lot of fun. I wish I could spend a little bit more time with the game as opposed to my computer. Also, if you guys are looking in the camera and keep wondering why I'm looking down here, my
display.
monitor's right here.
That's where
But-
the people are. That's
Yeah.
just that doesn't matter. The camera doesn't.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of like a typical thing though. Like the camera usually is where the computer is,
Yeah,
or something.
because I mean,
yeah.
people are playing the game. That's where they're gonna be
Yeah.
being most of the time. I do need a desk though, so I can stop looking down because it's starting to kill my back. I'm getting old, man.
I want to get you a little
Yeah,
one of the little table.
a little tray table.
Yeah, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Oh wait, I can't because Ashley turned that into her 3D printer station.
Yeah.
That woman just grabs anything she can find and turns it into something. I can't have anything around here.
Yeah.
She's the most creative person I know. She creates everything. That's how she survives.
I don't even know what this music is, but I'm just sitting here jamming out on the keyboard. Just
Oh, that was the Persona one I was talking about.
Okay,
that
was it?
sounds like
Yeah.
Persona, yeah. That's the one that always gets stuck in my head.
yeah. Like those are always the greatest moments where you just catch yourself as like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm really enjoying this song.
Yeah, that and the theme song are the two that won't ever leave my brain. I think what I like so much about the actual theme song though is it's really like it's simple, but it's I don't know, it's just composed well enough to be catchy, you know.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's actually if you take the overworld theme, da, 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 da,
Yeah.
if you take that and you look at the whole thing, it's actually Alex's theme evolved. And so if you take like the most important notes of the main theme, which is Alex's theme, that evolves into that sort of like epic overworld theme. And the idea was actually originally to make Alex more heroic at the game, and have it become like a hero's theme, but it ended up working out differently as we were writing it. So that was kind of like the idea when crafting that theme, that you'd be able to pull out like a heroic version from it.
Okay. Yeah, it seems to have inadvertently turned into sort of an homage to like old Final Fantasy overworlds.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely how I took it, for sure.
You like my bag?
Yeah. It's
What do
phenomenal.
you think it is? Take a guess.
I th-
This is AMSR with Axe Studios.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. ASMR. It's the greatest thing, especially in the headphones. These are really good headphones too. But
heard stuff like falling.
yeah. All right. Somebody said we might not have been on the New Game Plus, and you may have just started a fresh new game.
Oh no, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Okay.
It's cool. Don't worry.
All right.
Doesn't matter.
All right.
The only thing that matters is that you play and that you enjoy the game. That's it.
Well,
That's the secret.
didn't people say that you at least had to be on the New Game Plus to get the third ending, and a lot of people are wanting to see it, but outside of that, so obviously we were talking about music, and you went to school for music. What game do you think has like some of the best music, or music that you really enjoy?
Um, Final Fantasy IX, I think, is like the best. I love that comment.
Yes.
I'm kind of trying to be obnoxious at this point. Um, yeah, Final Fantasy IX, I think, has the best music. I really love both Nier and Nier Automata. Wild Arms is a soundtrack that's really special to me, even though it all is really just and Morricone just ripped off. Lufia 2 has a great soundtrack. I actually tried to get the guy who did the Lufia 2 soundtrack to do the entire Y2. I originally wasn't going to do it myself, and it was impossible to get a hold of him. Like, he has like an agent, but if you don't speak Japanese, we even got like a Japanese translated. We sent them, and we never heard anything back. So
That's a
Lufia
shame.
2 ranks up there for me.
Yeah.
I can imagine someone who worked on a game that's that old. It's probably a little up in age too, so I don't know how much they want to be bothered for stuff. I also have no idea what he's worked on because Lufia is a game I've always meant to play. I just never ever got around to it. So I'm not a true RPG fan. I'm sorry.
My understanding is he hasn't done a lot of game stuff. I think mostly his stuff has been arranged in games lately.
I see. So you said FF9, and that's my favorite game just about ever made. So that was good to hear.
Yeah, I think I love Final Fantasy IX. I also think that there's really good music in Ico in a very like subtle way. Not in Ico. Ico does have good music, but I meant what's the most recent one with the third one?
Oh, The Guardian.
Trico, Last Guardian.
Last Guardian, yeah.
That's, I think, is a really great soundtrack. I have that on vinyl, and I listen to that often. And what else? I think Uncharted 2 has a particularly good adventure game soundtrack that I don't think the other games lived up to.
Earlier someone asked about like your favorite tip. I think my favorite one is the one that says showering frequently can reduce body odor.
I go to a lot of tournaments and stuff, and I feel like that's a tip we need sometimes.
Yeah.
But
That's actually pretty interesting, like fluff to put into the game.
I feel like some of them are a little sarcastic, but it gives
Yes.
it that little bit of charm. Yeah.
That's kind of the point, I think.
Yeah, we put those in because we were concerned about the Vita loading times, so that was the original intent for them.
Oh, just something to look at while you were waiting.
Mm-hmm.
I get. Well, I can tell you right now, clearly they're faster, so because I don't even think about them anymore. I don't even notice them. That was definitely the case before the patch. I think we're pretty close to the mine dungeon part.
Yes.
So that's when the game kind of actually gets started. So at least that's what I would say.
I think that's fair.
Unlike Final Fantasy 13, where you got to play for about 20 hours until the game actually gets started.
Welcome to JRPGs.
No.
Shout out to Kingdom Hearts again.
I think Kingdom Hearts 1, it doesn't get started till you get the double jump.
Yeah.
That's true, I think.
Halfway through the game.
We just finished our playthrough of Kingdom Hearts on this stream, and it was definitely a struggle. I feel like Kingdom Hearts, out of the main series, because I would hardly call them the main series nowadays, but Kingdom Hearts 2 is probably the best Kingdom Hearts game. I was a little bit disappointed in 3, but
Yeah, that's a common sentiment,
Yeah.
I hear. And so I'll be glad to never be disappointed by it. Because I've only gotten about a quarter of the way through too. So
Somebody asked, does defeating Vela in the first fight contribute to the third ending at all?
I don't even know.
Not on Switch.
Not on Switch.
Oh well, shit. Because I don't remember if I beat her or not last time actually.
How old is Alex supposed to be?
I think he's
It's
20.
like 26 or something.
Yeah. I love how they keep making fun of Vela like that throughout the whole thing, and she just kind of takes it.
Side eyes him. It's like, I
Yeah.
know you're talking about me,
Like
but
you-
come on. Yeah.
And that's a constant thing with Michael. I think Vela's probably my favorite, at least girl character in the game. Claudio's my favorite male character because he has this really.
Yeah, I think Claudio.
Go ahead.
I think Claudio is most people's favorite.
He has this really unhealthy love for an anime that no one's ever heard of. I'll see. Now this is a rockin'.
Oh,
Is this the only time you hear this song?
Yeah.
Well, damn. Oh man, I suck.
so he fights with the record. Homeboy fights with the camera. She fights with, what is that, a keytar?
It's a keytar.
I love the choice of weapons.
And like Claudio has the Bakken, and
Oh, like the wooden sword?
yeah,
Okay.
the things that we used to hit each other with in high school. And
What do you mean in high school, man?
I still do that.
I was in Kung Fu a couple years ago.
And Chandra has a hula hoop, which that's interesting.
Yeah.
And then Essentia has like a giant JRPG sword. So
Did Homeboy get one-shotted again?
yeah, no, he did. He has 8 health and Alex
Okay.
has 10. Yeah, no. Oh god, dude. You said not in the Switch version. How are you supposed to beat this in any version?
New game plus.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, not new game plus. Hacking.
Okay. He knew. He knew
Yeah.
people were gonna do it.
Yeah.
I hate it because he's so deadpan when he talks about these things. Like, I don't know if he's serious or not. And I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Just let it ride.
So, can you grind in this? Or is there,
Kind of.
like, a set number of enemies?
On the overworld, I think it's every chapter there's a set number of random encounters, and then they have monster dens. But you don't really need to grind though. I didn't personally, but that was before this playthrough with the balance patch.
Yeah.
So
Alright, somebody says, why are there 1 billion camera angles in the arcade?
It seemed like a good idea at the time.
personally, I think it is. It's very thematic. I think the arcade and Windtown are probably some of my favorite locales, and I'm sure I'll find more as we play and I remember them. Oh, I'm so sorry. Jeez, I heard that. So is there anything that comes to mind, Andrew, that you'd like to comment on?
Popcorn is really good.
He said popcorn.
Popcorn, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what did he say? Didn't she just kick you out of her arcade for being a pervert? Why'd she follow you home?
Oh, because we told her about the weird stuff going on.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, hey, I know a little bit about
Yeah.
that weird stuff.
So, somebody says, there was a tweet where you mentioned the third ending being very sad. In what way can you possibly say without spoiling anything?
I think that the other two endings are more open-ended, and especially like the primary ending that most people get. I think that the feeling that it can go on, because it does go on in your reality. I think that there's optimism there, and then like the second ending, which is kind of like a satire on like a happy ending. um, that kind of has this almost like quasi sort of like dream, like romance feeling to it that could only ever happen in a dream, because it doesn't really make a lot of sense with the previous stuff in it. So, when you wake up from a dream, things go on. So I think that kind of gives it that bit of a optimistic feel. But there's a sense of finality to the third ending.
And the one you talked about being almost like a satirical happy ending, is that the K&N one, or is there a different?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there seems.
So what?
Go ahead.
Just to clarify what I mean by satirical, like, he gets a job. He does a bunch of shady things and is rewarded for it. Essentially, kind of like the joke. And it's kind of supposed to go along with that dream logic, where it's a happy dream. But I think if you kind of examine it a little bit more, it's a little disturbing, actually.
Okay.
So I feel like this is a stupid question, but everyone in the chat has been talking about the third ending. Have you ever come out and said specifically how many endings there are in this game?
I don't think so.
I think technically it's the general consensus that there's 4, because you have the main one that you're probably gonna get if you just play it like normal.
Is that the one you got?
That's the one I got.
Okay.
Which I was happy with. But hopefully we get the other one. You have the K&N one, which was supposed to be a secret, but I think Andrew said they the people who reviewed the game kind of gave it away.
Yeah, one YouTuber.
Yeah, and then there's one there's one you can get on the way to the first ending, where basically you have the option to just join the bad guys, more or less, and then you get sort of like a joke ending of like, oh, okay, well, go back and fix that. And then there's this one that we're hopefully gonna get.
So this one being the third ending, or
I would call it fourth personally, but
Okay.
everyone's been saying third because I mean, again, it's the other one's sort of like a joke,
okay.
but it is technically an ending, credits roll, and it ends with like a frowny, angry face.
So what SJ Musico is saying, SG, sorry, I find that interesting. Could you tell me a little bit more about what the K and N ending made you feel, and how you interpreted it when you played it?
So for those of you if you're watching this on YouTube, he's talking to somebody in the chat. As soon as they respond, I will read it out. That way you guys on YouTube don't end up missing this, because I know a couple of people's like, hey man, I gotta go, but I really want to watch the rest of this.
Right.
Which also, I don't think I've ever said where this is going to end up after we're done with today's episode.
Say it.
Yeah. So this will be going on YouTube on Typo House Plays. The channel you're watching right now is Typo House Games. If you search that on YouTube, that's going to take you to my Smash archive. So you want Typo House Plays. It should be in the little information bar right up there. Yeah.
This explanation right here had my brain splitting.
All right. All right, people are getting a little wild right now.
What?
So
I'm in the dark over here.
It says, Andrew, a message popped up in this game one time while playing at 2 a.m. saying popcorn is very good, while audio of someone eating a microwave pizza through a headset mic. Is this a reference to the fifth ending?
That is the fifth ending.
Okay.
Sorry, your life ends tonight.
Yeah.
Someone, actually, yeah, don't do that. Never mind.
All right. So this isn't the person he asked about the KN ending, but this is someone else. To me, the KN ending felt like a bad ending. Alex abandons his fight against Y2K and his friends to look for Sammy, the same hunt he was so self-absorbed in that he wound up being really insensitive towards his new friends over.
Yeah. So this is sort of. Do you ever watch a movie with someone and the movie has a sad ending, and they go, "Oh, I wish it had a happy ending." It's like, well, yeah, happy endings are really great. Um, and sometimes a happy ending doesn't make sense. Sometimes a happy ending, when all hope is lost, looks like abandoning your friends, looks like abandoning your journey. And the reward is a dream, because if you have a hope of an ending like that with everything that came before, that only ever could be a dream, which is why the ending feels like disconnected in terms of like the actions of what you have to do. That was kind of like the feeling it was supposed to convey. And Anthropics, that is an element of it.
So while we're on the topic of ambiguous endings, I think the one that stands out the most to me, and it's probably because I beat it, within the last 6 months, was Mother 3's ending.
Mm.
That was, if you look at it as a layman, who's just looking at the story as it is, but also knowing the context of like what all the needles do in the Awakening the Dragon and yada yada. Man, that is a sad ending.
All right, so SG Music finally had a chance to get everything together, so I'm going to read it what it says. I apologize if I stumble over it. But the KN ending upset me a lot because it was very abrupt. It didn't really solve the initial goal of the game. He found Sammy, but it wasn't like he found her and saved her like he imagined. He also just sort of abandoned everyone and took the easy way out. I tend to think of harder to find endings as the true or good endings, and especially before the third ending was announced, it just felt so frustrating. It's very similar to how you described it. And he says, I just remember being very mad for a while after like this. Like, this was the payoff.
Got him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is definitely a feeling that kind of makes sense for what the ending gives you. And it all kind of comes down to this idea that you need to that there kind of needs to be like a really happy ending where everything works out. And how very often that means something very different if you actually think about it. And that was kind of the idea.
Okay, I lied. There's a little bit of grinding to be done.
Mm-hmm.
He even says it. Let's go grind.
Yeah. That has a completely different context outside of a game.
I feel like a lot of the parts of this game are almost like commentary on RPG game design, like grinding, and then at the end of the game there's the month-long sort of training montage dealio.
Yeah.
Which hopefully there's a skip button now. Well, maybe not, because you have to gain a lot of levels there, so.
I will grab a drink. Don't ask me any questions until I return.
All right. So he told us not to ask him any questions. So what I'm going to do instead is say, hey, if you think this is right, don't say anything. So is the third ending a hoax? All right, he didn't say anything. He definitely agrees with us.
Is it a zoo level?
A zoo level, yes.
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna read something the chat
It
said.
turns out that the Switch has a microphone, and we already screwed it up. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. turns out, he's been lying to everyone the whole time. There is no third. He just wants people to like keep talking about it. Didn't you say something about like conspiracy theories being a heavy like influence on this game? Or
Yeah, it's literally in the marketing.
okay, yeah. So we're here to come out to say you all were right.
Okay, I'm back.
We
you're in
didn't say
trouble.
anything at all. It's perfectly fine. No, but we were just joking around, saying I said if we're right, don't say anything as you walked away. And was like third handing the hoax.
Oh, nice.
You didn't
Nice,
say anything.
nice.
It's obviously true.
Bastards.
Yeah.
Not just one bastard. He started it.
Somebody said, "Dude, I can't wait for a Y3K."
Never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen. If it did, would that one be YiiK? Gotta add the extra eyes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Get to level 5. Well, actually, damn it. I hit it one time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're gonna go to one of my favorite songs in the game. Remixes. Wait. This isn't the song.
Oh, when you first go in, you don't hear the Mind Dungeon.
Oh, okay.
It's the crow's
okay.
theme.
Okay.
All right.
I've been in here so many times it really caught me off guard.
Yeah.
This crow really freaks me out.
Somebody was saying earlier that the voice of the crow was a phenomenal voice actor. But
Yeah, he's good.
going back to what SG Music was saying a little bit ago, he said one of my criticisms of the game after I finished it was that it felt like a lot of the smaller narrative arcs were left hanging. So I'm excited for a third ending. The feel's definite, whatever the outcome is.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that there is this this sort of feeling, especially with video games, that there's this sort of expectation of things being wrapped up. And like, I was thinking a lot at the time about how, especially when people are dying, like there are threads of their life which are put out there that you never get to see their conclusion. You never get to. So even if the threads continue on when you're gone, like there are some things like that you'll ever experience, and I think that there was some intention to not close some things, to leave some of them intentionally dangling for that reason. And it's something that I think is a lot more common in books, especially postmodern literature, or a lot of like straight plays tend to do things like that. There's this one great play called "This Is Our Youth" that has some elements like that, which I actually recommend everyone reading. It's not very long, and it's really well written. And so like I get that, like that desire to have things wrapped up. But there was this sort of like feeling of like trying to intentionally give the feeling of, I feel like there's something I'm supposed to know. So you turn the situations over and over in your head to see if there was a clue, a puzzle piece that you missed.
Okay.
Hope that made sense.
If I've learned anything tonight, is that you have a very complex mind. You've got some, like just from talking to you for, let's see, probably about 10 hours now.
I was gonna say,
Like-
we've been
like-
going for about 2 tonight.
Yeah. Just in general. Like I said, there's a lot of things in this game that when they're presented to you, it turns out like the actual meaning behind them is not what you would have expected. Like the kaiju thing. That's a pretty good example, I think. And well, I can't think of anything right now, but probably like the Soul Survivor stuff as well. There's a lot to that as well, I think. But I'm also playing, and I can't really think right.
This is a common issue for you.
No, well, I multitasking.
Yeah. Maybe I should have played a game and
No.
you
Well, because if something pops up, I'm gonna talk about it.
Okay.
That's
well,
kind of how.
Yeah.
Like we're still really early on, so like there's not too much to question right now. Though it was interesting learning about sort of Sammy's predicament there in the beginning, and seeing that sort of compared to how the story actually progresses, and how near the end of the game, right before Y2K, Alex starts realizing that things just aren't quite right. Maybe he's remembering Michael wrong and stuff like that, and that's really interesting, I think.
I think that if you approach the game again, even just thinking about it without playing it, I think that there's some stuff that we foreshadowed pretty well. I think that a lot of it makes more sense the second time through. For better or worse, that may have been a flaw in the game. And then maybe if we had made things a little bit more apparent and not expect the player to complete it, that maybe some people who had a hard time with it, maybe they would have enjoyed it more. So that's one of the things I'm thinking about, like in terms of criticism that we've received, is how to grow as developers. How do we make something that, without sacrificing anything, how do you make something that is a more, I guess, sort of broadly digestible, product?
Right. And this definitely this game definitely feels pretty niche, I'd say, and I don't think to its detriment at all. It just has a lot of ideas that you don't see present in a lot of games. Most games, 98% of games. I think that's fair to say. All right, one more level. Let's go find a monster den.
Alright, so somebody was saying, in the future your friends will level up along with Alex as he climbs further down the mine dungeon floors. You don't have to talk to the blue robot all the time unless your friends have more XP than Alex. That might save you some time.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I seem to remember it, but I wasn't too sure how that worked. So I just did that because I knew that worked. I'm pretty sure I can go to the overworld, right? Oh, do I want to? Yeah. Duh. We were just talking about that. So I'm guessing most people in chat have played through this game.
Most of the people have. Obviously, the locals, my friends that are still watching, haven't, but they're they're still here supporting.
You guys definitely should.
Yeah.
This
they're experiencing the game with us right now.
Maybe this statement's a little out there. What is this song? I don't think I've heard this one. But maybe this statement's a little out there, but I kind of feel like this is 2019's Earthbound.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate just bringing that game up, but it's relevant,
Unrelated to that, I like how you can't cross the streets unless you're in a crosswalk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. I can actually see the changes now. Because I leveled up, finally. Get dead. I got wrecked. What is this? Oh, that's a monster den. Level 10. I don't think I'm ready for level 10.
So what level are you now? And it says you want to be at least level 5?
Yeah, I'm level 4.
Okay.
So
I think the monster dens you want are probably all to the western side of the map.
So I didn't want to ask too many questions about getting the ending.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's kind of cheating the process. So I'm just going to make statements.
Yeah, okay. Shoot.
Because I'm shooting for it, I was just going to do all the monster dens. That felt like a thing that might be required, So and it was something I largely ignored in my first playthrough.
Mm.
I did a few, like I got the whistle, and I do them from time to time. But I think they usually leave a treasure chest when you're done, and I seem to remember getting just like stuff I was able to buy or whatever. So I think I just stopped doing them.
Yeah, I would say my biggest disappointment with the game would probably be that I feel like some of the quests could have been more rewarding. Like you could have gotten stuff that was like much more interesting or much more rare. And the economy is a little broken in the game, which was kind of part of like a joke, but it ended up hurting the gameplay. So that's like one thing I gotta look back and like, oh, you know, if I was making this game again, I would change that.
I actually don't really feel that way about the currency because that's just, in my experience, that's like most RPGs that I play. You can just do that, you know. Granted, what I did with the money, I just kind of bought like all of the healing items, and I was good for the rest of the game. But I seem to remember something being in here that was pretty good. Oh, explain this. Why?
My stream is delayed. What is it?
Oh, I'm sorry. You'll see it in a second.
Okay. Hopefully, like it. Is it the camera punching?
Yeah, it punches in, and like there's a weird static effect.
Oh, it's supposed to be like sketchy security cam footage. Like 'cause it's a pawn shop. It's supposed to just give it a feeling of being a little sketchy.
Okay, I thought it was
That's the idea.
something like that. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah. So somebody is asking Andrew, why did you call brothers? I always mix it up with the other game where you control two brothers with one stick each. I didn't name two brothers. That wasn't me. It was somebody else who was working on the game with us at the time, and then they left the project after it already was announced and the name stuck. And I was like, me and Brian never liked the name. We never wanted to call it Two Brothers.
I see.
Yeah. So Chromophore is why I came up with the name Chromophore, because I didn't want to be called Two Brothers.
And see,
It's a shit name.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Especially, again, I haven't gotten to play it yet, but just knowing the premise of the game, we're basically, what is it? You're sort of like in a Game Boy black and white world, and you end up finding these colors that I think you explained they don't exist, but the only way that we could represent them was by using, obviously, our colors. So to the characters, they don't exist. But that's how. So Chromophore makes a lot more sense for a name, I think. It also just sounds cool. Oh, hey,
Yeah, that was that was like that's a pretty accurate description of the game too.
Yeah, one of these days I'll get to try it, I'm sure.
Yeah, you do have it, right? Oh, you had the problem with your computer.
Full discretion, yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew did send me the Two
Yeah, I
Brothers.
sent him Two Brothers.
The issue was Windows screen, whatchamacallit, would not let me play it. So now maybe my wife can help me out with that. I don't really know if that's a problem with Windows or the. Yeah, that's how that works.
What just happened?
That was Dolly.
Okay.
That was the cat.
I just saw you point and then a meow and then a bridge appears.
I like how I never thought about it, but I like how he goes after a mouse. Yeah, I never even noticed that till just now.
Okay.
Like I was just playing the game last time.
All right. But there was something you guys were talking about.
Oh,
you know,
we've got about 20 more minutes actually. So.
Right. Yeah. But you said if you ever remade the game or something like that, it made me think about like the current state of games and how so many people are releasing unfinished games and then fixing them later with DLC and things of that nature. So is that something you'd be interested in, like revisiting games with more and more DLC to like fix some of the problems with the game?
I don't think so. Like if there ever was like a Y2K, it would have to have a really good grid. I'd rather work on new things, but like it's you know. I also don't think that you know things that you wish you would have done better actually means the game's unfinished or broken.
Right.
They're just like things you could have improved.
Yeah.
I think they're good indicators of milestones in someone's career. That's what I kind of feel.
Yeah.
Like, look at the entirety of Devil May Cry. 2 was pretty bad.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. I'm being asked, Andrew, did you actually at the? Yes, I did. But you have to remember that the game was kickstarted in New Jersey, and a lot of people from New Jersey backed it. So, and a lot of my friends that spread from there. So, it's not really that surprising. If this happened in like California, I would have been shocked. But in New Jersey, yeah, it makes more sense.
What was the question?
He said, the question was because Andrew cut out. Andrew, did you actually meet someone at the gym talking about Chroma 4? And his answer was yes. And then the stuff about New Jersey. I wasn't aware that, you know, you could do like regional Kickstarters like that. Is that a thing?
I mean,
No, it wasn't. It's not that. It's a regional Kickstarter. It's the majority of the backing came from New Jersey because a lot of like our friends spread it. And it, you know, we had a lot of really great sort of like grassroots support on Facebook, so that really helps.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Also, it's really nice to know that, you know, people have your back.
yes, it is.
Yeah. Especially in the
Yeah.
age of the internet where, you know, sometimes it's real easy to feel disconnected from everything, but to know you can walk out somewhere and be like, hey man, I'm working on this thing and I really want to share it with everyone, and then like they have your back.
Yeah. I think maybe a little bit more so back then because Kickstarter was a new thing. Now everyone has a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter, so
Oh.
I don't know if it would happen anymore.
This is something I just noticed, and thank you so much for doing it.
What is it?
You can skip the end of the battle animation.
Oh yeah, that's new.
Yeah, you used to have to just sit there and watch the camera spin
That's a pain in the ass to do.
to make that happen. Let's see. Okay, we have enough for 5, so I think we'll just go back.
You have to go to a save point to level up? Or
Yeah.
okay. Because I know the last time you were on a phone it said like Mine Dungeon or save.
I seem to remember something about Southtown being said, but I don't remember what it was. People on Discord been freaking out about all the third ending stuff forever and ever, so
Yeah.
for all I know, it's some obscure thing. Alright, so hitting level 5, I think after we talk to Vela, we'll just call that a checkpoint.
Yeah, that'll be a pretty solid place to stop because we're coming up on 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've definitely taken up more than enough of Andrew's time here. I hope you've at least enjoyed it though.
Oh yeah, I've had a lot of fun. I mean, I'm pretty inebriated, so I might not. I'm probably not making any sense. It's all gonna end up on Niche Gamer tomorrow.
Well, I'm one of those people like whenever there's a lot of silence, especially with someone I've basically newly met, I kind of get worried.
Yeah.
Well, that's my problem though, I think.
So this is a conversation you and I have had a lot, especially since you've started doing your podcast and we've started doing more streams like this where we're spending more and more time on the camera talking about, you know, ourselves and the game. Being on mic and broadcasting is a skill. And
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and people really underestimate how hard it is to talk for long periods of time, especially when, you know, someone else is involved in doing something else. And I've been a little bit more quiet than I normally am because, like I said, this is your guys' show. This is your show and his show. I'm just here to run the stream. And
You're here to have fun, don't lie.
Yeah. I mean, I'm enjoying myself too, but, you know, we've been streaming this for over 2 hours, and you know, if we're trying to stay on a topic about the game and, you know, people's experiences in regards to the game and stuff like that, there's really only so much you can talk about. But obviously, most of you guys are here for the game and then the developer, but feel free to ask us questions, myself and James here.
Yeah,
because
we're so interesting.
Um,
Please.
I mean, I made the joke on your podcast, but when do the interesting people show up?
He's on the other side. So.
Yeah, he's the disembodied voice you guys hear all the time. But, and again, I understand that you guys aren't here for us, but if you guys have any questions for myself or James, feel free to ask.
Proto Andrew.
Yeah. I feel like
you say proto Andrew, Jesus.
Yes.
If I was a truly egotistical monster, I would have made myself Michael, given myself the knowledge of the entire universe.
Mhm.
That would have been my self-insert.
Yeah.
It's funny how we always somehow we just keep coming back to that.
It's funny.
It is funny.
It's funny.
Unless you change. Wait, I thought What the hell are you talking about? Level 5. Oh, go back home. I thought I was supposed to talk to Bella. My
Okay.
bad.
So, SG Music asks, so we're looking for the third ending. Do you have any plans or ideas towards finding it?
You know I'm streaming right now, Oblivion, right?
No. I don't know.
That's the guy's name or tag.
It,
He's DMing me on Discord. I'm like, I can't really type right now.
no. I mean,
If
go ahead.
I think we have a little bit of a lag on his end.
Okay. Shout outs to Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You there, Andrew?
yeah, I'm here.
Okay. What were you
Sorry, I was disassociating from reality.
Mhm. I mean, same, really, but this is more towards you, James. Like, do you have anything, like, any concrete plans or ideas towards finding it? Like, have you yourself figured anything out that, maybe some of the others haven't?
My only idea right now is because the only things that I know of that people know about are, let's see, Zelda, possibly New Game Plus, and let's see, Aviators, Chad. That's all I know.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chad is somewhere. I can't remember where, but
Yeah.
I think people have already found him, but I don't know.
And
but
then somebody else is saying the official YiiK subreddit has a Discord server with a dedicated
I
to
should
the
really read
hunt.
these. Okay.
You can check it out with us if you like.
Okay, so forget all the backlash about the game. How cool is that?
How cool is what?
That there's a official
Oh, an
Like-
unofficial.
or
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. But no, to know that there are people that dedicated to something that, like, they're working together towards this end goal together, like all these people that I've never met supporting each other. No, I think it's really cool.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's always been interesting. Oh yeah, we're about to go to my favorite town. It's always been interesting to see how people will rally around online for just stuff like this,
Yeah.
these mysteries of life.
Yeah.
There was a video the other day I watched that was just like 10 times people played games for years for some reason, and one of them was a game, I can't remember the name. It was like Toria or something, and there was like a door that you had to be level 999.
Jesus.
And apparently the game was like pretty tedious to level up to a point. And 10 years later, someone did it. Someone got on the other side of the door, and he never said what was on the other side of the door.
Yeah.
That's how I hope this goes with the third end.
All right. So since you bring that up,
Oh, I'm not saying anything if we find it. I'm just
Well-
gonna let it be on stream and leave
well,
it.
well, I
He's
was
gonna
gonna,
cut the stream.
yeah,
Cut the
that's what
stream.
I was gonna ask. Is like, if we get the third ending, are you gonna let us know so I can just hit stop?
I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do
Okay.
that.
Yeah. I feel
I
like
like
a
that.
lot
So
of
we
people
can
would
watch
be
it.
so upset.
So we can watch it,
Yeah.
but they actually have to go and do
Yeah.
it and figure it out. I think I like that.
It's very important that you do that.
Yeah, I will definitely do that as long as you give me enough of a heads up. They
will.
might get like a little bit of it.
At least 20 seconds
Yeah,
with the delay.
yeah,
They'll have the general gist of it,
yeah.
but
So I'm gonna.
If they do watch, I mean, it would be pretty screwed up. It would
Mhm.
be a shame
Yeah.
because they not only cheated the game, they cheated. They didn't grow. They didn't improve. They took the shortcut and they gained nothing. God, nothing. They experienced the hollow victory. Nothing was risked and nothing was gained, and it's sad that you don't even know the truth.
So I understand this is a meme, but the first time I started seeing them, I didn't think it was a meme. Like I thought, people were like, because I play a lot of competitive games, so the people I saw sharing it was like, oh, somebody like very interesting in the community must have said this, and it started to spread, and then I started seeing it more and more, and I was like, damn it, I got.
What is that from?
It's my favorite meme. I love it.
Is that from a game or something? Like, I feel so out of the loop with this.
I don't know what it's from either, but I've been.
Oh, it's the Sekiro meme. PC gamer cheated their way to the end.
Oh.
They felt no shame from cheating, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's I beat Sekiro's final boss with cheats and I feel fine.
Oh.
And then somebody said that you not only cheated the game, you cheated yourself, etc. And it blew up.
Okay. Yeah. No. I remember. I didn't read the article, but I saw the headline. And I said.
Like fuck that.
I really hope people listen to our last talk about the whole accessibility thing, because I feel like there's some wisdom, I guess, in that conversation. Oh, hey, we got Bella. Okay, so we're gonna call it when we arrive at Windtown.
All right.
I feel like that's a good stopping point.
So, you said something about accessibility. I know there's something in the game to help with that. You know this, they don't, but my brother's actually blind. So we used to.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he still couldn't play this.
Oh, he couldn't play this, no. But his vision has been deteriorating for years, and now he's got like 1% vision left. But I remember, sitting down and playing video games with him all the time. Like, I say he's ruined Legend of Zelda games for me because he would always do the dungeons, and then I would have to do the boss fights for him, or like I would have to clear out a room for him, and then he could figure out the dungeon because he had enough sight to do it. Yeah. But that's my memories.
And by funny, I mean it's like a charming story. Yeah. That's what I mean.
Yeah. But that's how I experienced like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess. So like I can never go back and just play them and experience the game in its entirety without having these memories and then certain frustrations because when you're kids and your brother's playing the video game, you really want to play the video game.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I know that.
Yeah. And that's why we use the little brother meme in the Pokemon Let's Play. Even though I was thinking about it today, I was like, with how that whole thing went, I think we should just call him Lil Big Bro.
Me just yelling at you the whole time.
Yelling at me and telling me what worked and.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because me and Brent were talking about doing the World End with You Let's Play, and he's gonna be first player because he's never played the game before.
Oh, it's gonna be the same.
It's gonna be the same thing.
He's gonna yell back. He's like, "Shut up!"
Yeah, but Brent will snap back a lot faster than you would have. So I'm looking forward to it. Also, dude, I just love that game so much. I'm so happy that you, Andrew, knew what it was without me having to say anything. One of my favorite games. And then again, the Mega Man Legends 2, as well, but Mega Man Legends 2 as well.
That's what I like about this guy and you can tell just by playing the game. He's pretty well studied, but more than you would know just by talking to him.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like some of my favorite games are a little bit more out there, and to know that other people recognize them, it's just really nice. All right, so is that it? Are we there?
This isn't Windtown, but it's close enough. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because it's 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for like 3 hours, so
2.5.
2.5.
Yeah. All right.
So if anyone has any more questions, let's do a lightning round.
Sure, I'll save while you guys are doing that.
All right, guys, lightning round. Let's go. And then I'll let you curate your own questions. Just read them out loud first. That way, people who go back and watch the video later know what you're answering. It's going to take a minute for everyone to get caught up. Yeah.
Okay, I thought I just found something, but I didn't.
Also, I love lightning round questions in like any form. It's so interesting.
Especially when you're drinking.
Yeah.
Andrew.
Who's drinking?
Also, while we're waiting on this, I have had a blast
Yeah, this has been
Yeah.
fun.
Thank you, the viewers, for joining us, and thank you, Andrew, for being here with us too. We definitely couldn't have done this without you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate having the opportunity to come talk about the game, and yeah, it's really cool.
And it's gonna be so much worse after the VR chat debacle.
It's gonna be great.
We're gonna make it.
So some questions. More third ending.
This song.
There's a hint. There's actually a hint in the lyrics to one of the vocal songs about the third ending. Why are proto characters shirt? Because they can't be naked, so they're shirtless. Is there more RNG required? What is RNG? What is that?
Random number generation. So like,
Not on PC.
okay.
PS4, there's one RNG. Let's see. What are we doing this next? Are we doing it at the same time, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
same
same
time
week.
next week.
What's the plan?
Yes.
Yeah, same time every Tuesday, as long as you're willing to do it.
Sounds good to me.
I'm sure we'll become very close friends over the course of this.
I mean, you spend a couple of weeks together just hanging out for 2 to 3 hours a night.
Well,
You
I
have,
say hanging out.
yeah.
It's just like Twitter.
I mean, I guess I kind of asked the question: are like online friends any different than real life friends? And we're sitting here having a conversation with him, and them as well.
I think as long as you spend time with anybody in any capacity
Yeah.
for a certain number of hours, as long as you two don't get into a giant hair-ripping fight, you're probably good to go.
Yeah, I think sometimes online friends can be more real for
No, I
like
agree
a
with that.
certain element of like social anxiety.
I
Oh,
agree.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, VR
Yeah.
chat was that for me for sure. And as Andrew knows after listening to my little episode that I will release later, yeah. Speaking of which, I should probably send that to you too.
Yeah,
So.
Brent said he wouldn't mind listening to it too if you need another opinion. But
All right. I'm
right.
sorry for talking.
Yeah. That looks like most of the questions have already been filtered through. So I've been Christopher X Moore.
And I've been Dactyl. I guess we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Whoa, hold on. There's someone after you,
Oh shit.
and he's been.
And I've been Andrew Allenson from Mac Studios.
Yeah.
He's just gonna
Cut that
bury
part
it.
out. I'm kidding. I know you don't cut shit.
All right. And then, if you've enjoyed what you've been watching, be sure to follow us here on twitch.tv/typosgames. You can drop a sub if you want. This isn't my normal content, so be aware of that if you do sub to us. The other thing is, if you missed anything today, be sure to follow/subscribe to us on YouTube. Typo House Plays to catch this. I'm going to probably start uploading this immediately, so if you guys want to go back and like dissect
Yeah, it's
things,
gonna take a while.
definitely check it out tomorrow because I have to drive back to my place. But
And I guess before we sign out, we'll just do all the Twitter plugs. You can follow me at DacTalk, DacTalk with a K.
I'm Typo House Games. And
I'm Studios, ACKK Studio.
He's cutting out a lot, but
yeah.
But
But if you guys are following
Yeah.
are following this, I'm sure you're already following the man himself.
yeah, probably.
Yeah. But that's it for the stream. Bye, everybody.
All right.
See you guys.
I love you all.